shows that enemies are off screen. And it gives you, you're going to join the Ninja Mike GIF club of crashing on stream.
Shields up, Iron Breakers. We're kind of here coming at you with another episode of Let's Talk Anthem. Yesterday, we had another live stream with the developers over there at BioWare where they talked about a bunch of more topics in regards to Anthem, and I'm going to be addressing all of those topics to the best of my ability in a bit of a more condensed format. Hopefully, at least. But before we get started with that, I should mention that the Anthem short story that Neil Blomkamp has been working on has been released as of the posting of this video. I watched it, and I wouldn't say it was so much a short story as it was a trailer about a short story. But as it stands right now, I'm pretty sure that it is a trailer for a movie that doesn't actually exist. So you can form a bit of a narrative by looking at the different events and the different sequences that they show you in this trailer, but at the same time, that's just going to leave people wanting to watch the actual thing because it was really good. So everybody wants to watch it, and now everybody's like, but this doesn't actually exist, so I'm not actually going to be able to watch it. I mean, it'd be good if they would actually do a partnership where Neil Blomkamp actually does like a full featured short film as opposed to just like a 3-minute trailer. But I don't know. I like what I saw. I wish there was more to it, but unfortunately that's all we got for now. But anyway, continuing onwards, the live stream yesterday was by Ben Irving and Chad Robertson, and I would just like to point one thing out. If you guys actually watched that live stream, they were playing as the Colossus. You guys might have noticed the build that they were using was Eric's build. I've talked about this build in some of my videos, I think, which I think I called it the Eric Special, but basically it is the combination of using the flamethrower and the lightning coil to achieve the almost infinite combo effect. But the interesting thing is they used the Eric's build, and I think I might have seen like 1 or 2 combos the whole live stream. What the hell were you guys doing? The hell are you guys doing? Come on, get your shit together, dude. Still, it was pretty funny to see because Chad Robertson in particular was struggling a little bit to play with the Colossus. It's okay, Chad. It's okay. Not everybody's made for the beefy, thick boy that is the Colossus. We forgive you. Continuing onwards, so there's been a change in launch times. In my last video, I linked you guys to a chart that was made by Blake O'Mayfer, and the times since then have changed, which is quite a bit frustrating because I'm pretty sure that a lot of people actually took time off. I myself rescheduled a couple of things in my life because I was like, well, Origin, it says right here, 10:30 on Origin, guess I'm playing. And now they changed it last minute, and it is actually going to be tomorrow. Here's the new chart. Once again, credit goes to Blake O'Mayfer for creating this chart for us. You should be able to see all of the updated times there. Once again, I'll leave a link to, I think he's got a Reddit thread this time, so I'll put a link to that Reddit thread on the pinned comment in this video. I'll also put a link to the Anthem short story thing that Neil Blomkamp did. If you guys missed out on that, make sure to check that out. But anyways, yeah, there's new launch times. It is going to be 9 a.m. Central for me. I'm going to be playing it at 3 p.m. GMT. So it's actually a better time for me overall. It just kind of sucks that Origin's been listing the wrong time this whole time. But continuing onwards, one of the things that they showed was the Fort Tarsis Sprint, which honestly, I think it is still not going to be fast enough because here's the thing, right? I understand why the speed is the speed that it is because they want people to actually see what they've done in Fort Tarsis. And I think that's great for your first experience. For the first time you're going through the story, you want to enjoy it, you want to appreciate it. But I almost think that once you hit level 30, like they got to speed that up because people are going to want to go from point A to point B in that city. And I still don't think that that sprint is enough. I could be wrong. You guys let me know what you think about in the comment sections below. I have not actually played it. I'm just going off of the speed that I saw in the live stream. And especially considering that I think Fort Tarsis is supposed to be considerably bigger than the sections that we experienced in the demo. So yeah, I still don't think that it's enough. But again, I don't know. I'll know more once I actually play the game. Then they talked about loyalty rewards, which are essentially the reputation grind that we'll be able to do. They showed the rewards that you can get out of those, and you actually can see that there were like 3 materials. It was brass, copper, and I forget what the other one was. You could get like 3 metallic materials and a bunch of blueprints, which apparently are now called sigils. instead of blueprints, but it's whatever. Basically, those were the rewards for getting level 3 with the Arcanist, and it was a lot of stuff. It was a lot of epic blueprints, but the thing that I like is the fact that you're actually going to get the cosmetic materials to change. I mean, if those things are final, which I'm assuming those are final, that's pretty cool that you can still unlock materials through reputation grind and stuff like that. So that's pretty sweet. Moving right along, one of the things they mentioned is that on PC you will have HDR, but only on the 22nd, which kind of sucks. Why wouldn't you have it a little bit earlier? It might be earlier, but they said Ben Irving said that he thought that was going to be on the 22nd. They've also introduced a camera shake reduction, which I would like to call baby mode. I mean, if you're a baby and you can't handle the camera shake, then sure, you can reduce the shake. Look, I don't want to hear about you getting, I got motion sick. No. You're just coming up with excuses so that you don't have to deal with the ultimate of the Colossus, which should rock your camera up, down, left, right. It should make you sick to stand in the presence of the Colossus ultimate, okay? That's the way it's meant to be. So don't you dare turn that camera shake down. I want all of you Iron Breakers out there. Camera shake full blast, so that we all feel the impact of that Colossus ultimate. Anyway, one of the things that I definitely noticed is that the UI is still not particularly optimized for the PC. They mentioned that you now have the thing properly labeled with buttons Q and E to navigate between the menus. It's like, it should just be a click thing, which I don't know if it is or not. I'm just going off of what they said. Like, if they're saying that in order to navigate left and right through the tabs and the menus, you still have to press Q and E. That's not a very good way. I mean, it's just like, look, it's PC, okay? It's just like, look, it's point and click with the mouse. That's the way it's supposed to work. If you're playing a game with mouse and keyboard, people just want to click stuff with the mouse. And on the PC, it should just have a different interface from the console, unless you are playing with a controller. But yeah, that's still, particularly for the people that are really into PC, I think they're still going to be a little bit frustrated with the UI, but I don't know. You guys tell me, all of you PC players out there, let me know what you think about this. I'll probably still be playing with a controller on the PC because I just like flying more with a controller, but I will definitely test out keyboard and mouse because I've been getting a lot of questions about how keyboard and mouse feels, so I'll test that out when I get into the game tomorrow to see if it feels better or not. As a matter of fact, we got a couple of more topics in this from this live stream about that. The other thing is that the FOV slider is still not ready and most likely is not going to be ready on the 22nd, which it just kind of confirms what a lot of people have been saying, that the PC version does feel like a bit of an afterthought. I mean, come on. Everybody knows that PC players are going to want those FOV sliders. That stuff should have been on there. The fact that the UI is still not, properly optimized for mouse and keyboard, I mean, come on. You can tell that it's like, yeah, they've made all of the inputs. I'm not even going to say it's not optimized for PC. It's more like it's not optimized for mouse and keyboard navigation, right? I think there's still a lot of work that they can do there in order to really improve the experience for PC players. At least that's the way that I feel from what I have seen in this particular live stream. The expedition screen has been streamlined and now makes a lot more sense. You can actually see, okay, I want to do this activity, and then once you click on there, you click on the actual location on the map that you're going to be deploying in, and that takes you to the next screen instead of you like, oh, I'm going to click on the map, and then from the map you place a target where you want to go, and then you hit back, and then it's like you get used to it. But this way it was much more streamlined and it made a lot more sense, because I remember actually watching footage from some people playing and they were like, I'm clicking here, why is it not working? Because nobody realized that you're supposed to click the stuff and then click back and then go into the activity. Now it makes more sense. One of the things that I did not like is the fact that they're going to hide the numbers from the GM difficulties. What does that mean? That means that they're going to hide like the percentages of additional loot that you're going to get, the percentages that it increases the enemy health pool by. And I think that most people are not going to appreciate that change because, like, look, when people are playing looter shooters, these are all, your audience is going to be a lot of people that are driven by numbers. Whenever you're playing a looter game, people are driven by numbers. That is just the essence of what that is. So it's like, don't take numbers away from the UI. Put more numbers in there. People want more. Or if anything, have like an option to like, oh, the simple mode and advanced mode. Like, let people toggle through that, because, you know, taking stuff away like that, in my opinion, not a good idea. And I think that the community overall is probably going to agree with that. Again, you guys let me know in the comment section. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say about that. There's been improvements to the radar, which is a little bar up top, because that has like, it marks your enemies. And this particular improvement is really good because it showcases you red arrows indicating that there are enemies off screen. Because a lot of times, I remember I would be somewhere in the world and something would be shooting at me, but because that something was not on my screen, I would not see like a red dot that I could easily identify where my enemies were firing at me from. And now with the improvements on the radar, it's much easier. And you guys are like, oh, why can't you just look around and look for them? Trust me, this just makes way more sense. And always remember that this game has so much verticality that it's not just about, oh, are they firing from the front, from the back? It can be, oh, someone's firing all the way up there, completely out of sight, and I can't friggin' see them. So this improvement is very much something that I like. So one thing that was also revealed in this live stream is that you can actually craft legendaries, which I was surprised. Again, if you go back to the initial equipment and loot live stream that they did, they said you can craft up the epic. Since then, they've said you can craft masterwork. And now, basically, what Ben Irving has said is that blueprints are quality agnostic. So basically, what that means is that if you get a blueprint for anything, you can craft all versions of that item. But what happens is that not every item has a legendary version of itself. So only certain blueprints will have legendary versions of the item, but you will be able to craft those items, and that is actually really good. Because the fact that if you can craft legendaries, it means that you can keep crafting them until you get the stats that you want. And once you get the blueprint to craft that item, you know, you're still subject to some RNG, but basically your RNG is going to be, I grind the gear to craft the item and hope that I get the stats that I want, as opposed to, well, I'm gonna kill 1,000,000 monsters and hope that I get another legendary drop, which makes a lot more sense. They also mentioned that they buffed Colossus at the lower levels. What does this mean? I'm oversimplifying what they said a little bit, but basically, you guys might remember that I said that I also felt that the Colossus was underpowered when I first started playing it because I didn't have the appropriate modules. However, what they're doing is they're softening up the curve so that you don't need modules as early on to make the Colossus somewhat tanky. So they buffed them slightly on the earlier stages as you are beginning to play the Colossus. And then when you get to the final stages, it should be as powerful as we witnessed in the demo. I mean, it should be more powerful than what we witnessed in the demo. Basically what it is it's not going to be as gear dependent as it was in the demo, and it will still be tanky, you know, even as he comes out of the box. So that's good. It kind of smooths out the learning curve for the Colossus. There will be SLI support post-launch. This one, I'm like, I think that people that actually use SLI might be a little bit in the minority. At least I know that personally, whenever I make a PC, I never go after SLI because the amount of games that actually support SLI is not that much. I mean, maybe there's more of them that support it now, and I know that some of you guys out there that do have SLI, you guys are probably going to be like, oh, look at all these games that have it. And like, I get it. I'm just trying to tell you guys that in the grand scheme of things, with all of the video games that are out there, the number of games that support SLI are still properly support SLI, I should say, are still not that much. So I'm not surprised that SLI is not something of a big priority to them. They showcased the party widget, but we've already seen the party widget in other content creators' videos, people that have actually played not the final versions, but the non-demo versions of the game. People have shown us the party widgets, so it is something that we have already seen. I like the fact that there is an indicator that lets you know where your teammates are, if they're behind you, left of you, right of you, so that is good. A very important thing, because a lot of people apparently ran into problems in the demo with people grabbing echoes and then forgetting that they're supposed to deposit them, or people grabbing echoes and disconnecting, or people grabbing echoes and not depositing them on purpose. Echoes and relics now have a 1-minute carry timer. So after 1 minute, the character holding the relic or the echo, if they haven't dropped it in the appropriate location, the relic will drop, despawn, and respawn in its original position, and somebody else can go there and pick it up so that you can turn it in. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if someone decides to be an asshole and just sits in the location where they picked up the relic, how that is going to work, but let's just hope that they figured that stuff out somehow, but at least this is better than what we had before for sure. There's going to be better binds for emotes. This is particularly relevant for controller. I don't know how it's going to work on the PC, but on the controllers, you would use the D-pad to scroll through the 3 available emotes that you had, and then you would press down to use the emote. Now it's just like, well, if it's only 3 emotes, I'm just going to put them on left, right, and down on the D-pad, and those are just like bound there. So it's a little bit quality of life for emoting, but not a big deal really. Apparently on the PC version of the demo, there was some mouse acceleration issues. I've actually heard a lot of people complain about this, and they've said that these have been completely resolved. I'm not going to get into the technicals of everything in regards to, oh, it was this negative mouse acceleration thing that happened because we planned the game at this amount of DPI. I'm not going to get into the technicalities. Basically, I've heard people say that they had some serious issues with snap aiming. So I'm talking about like someone, you know, people on PC, they can just like turn around at the drop of a dime because mice are much faster than analog sticks, right? So whenever people were snap aiming, basically what was happening is there was a limit to how much they can turn. Apparently, all of that stuff has been resolved according to what the developers are saying, so that should no longer be a problem. Another thing that people were talking about is when you were flying, the mouse would not snap back to center, which would make it particularly challenging for people to do proper flight using the mouse. It now snaps to center, and apparently that is going to be a toggleable option. But I'm not sure, it wasn't particularly clear whether or not that was going to be an option from the start. I think it's just going to be snapping to center by default. So I hope that doesn't cause more problems for mouse flight. We shall see how that works. Then they talked a little bit more about the release calendar that they released a week ago or so. And they said that the evolving world is going to mean they're going to put new events. One example of an event is what happened to us with the ancient Ash Titans. So they might have an event where they just spawn a bunch of Ash Titans into the game. But they say that other events will probably be more subtle. And it is going to be something that more likely players that spend more time playing will notice than just casual players. So is like the whole evolving world thing seems like, sure, they're going to do events, but they're not going to be like mind-blowing things all the time. That appears to be more around the Cataclysm stuff. The Stronger Together update is going to be about social interactions. I kind of talked about this on a previous video already. That is where they're going to be bringing in the guilds. And then they said something that did frustrate me a little bit, which is, oh, it's going to be about social competition, leaderboards, and all that stuff. And I guess it was something that I hadn't even, I had complained about this before because of the way that the release of the game is made with some people getting earlier access than other people. Like, I think that's kind of unfair for the whole leaderboard situation. Because, like, you can say whatever you want, like, but if someone just no-lifes this game for a full week, they're going to be in a much better position to be placed in the leaderboards because they're going to be better geared than you. They're going to be more experienced than you. They're just going to be in a better position to top those leaderboards than someone that starts on the 22nd. And in my opinion, that is a problem. How they tackle that, I don't know. But basically, with the Stronger Together update, they're going to be bringing in those leaderboards, and, you know, it's not going to be an even playing field for everyone. It's just not going to be. I know that a lot of people feel that this is fine. I'm one of the people that feels that this is not fine. It's just, these are just going to be two different opinions that you're going to have. I still don't like what they did with the release, but I don't want to extend myself with that stuff because I almost feel like I keep bringing that stuff up all the time, and so it's whatever. But yeah, that's what you can expect in the Stronger Together. And finally, they did say that Cataclysms is going to be the equivalent of raids. They didn't say it in these words, but, you know, oh, it's aspirational content. It's what you get together with your friends with a well-coordinated group to do. So yeah, this Cataclysm is going to be as close as you can get to raids, and that is going to be something that we will be experiencing maybe not in March, because it depends on how long these acts are going to take. But yeah, that is going to be when you see the very first real challenge come into the game beyond Grandmaster 3 difficulty and stuff like that. How do you guys feel about all the things that were discussed in this video? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys enjoy my videos, remember to hit it up with a like. If you are new here, subscribe, hit the bell notification icon. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.